Alright, it's another day, and I've gone back and watched the video, and I realized that if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know everything that just has happened. So let me break it down a little bit. I noticed this 18-wheeler stopped in the middle of the highway. I guess a car was coming out of that gas station. He wasn't going to have room to get in or whatever. Anyway, he stopped in the middle of the highway. This SUV up in front of me to my right is not paying attention or whatever. She doesn't know, or he, whatever it is. Don't notice that this guy stopped until the last minute. So that SUV pulls over on me, which there was plenty of room. I got slowed down. It was no big deal. But that was the beginning of it. Well, whatever this person was paying attention to once she got in front of me was not the line of cars that was stopped for the red light right in front of her, him, whatever. And I couldn't see the line of cars that was stopped for the red light. So at the last second, this SUV hits the brakes and ditches off into the turn lane, which thankfully there's a turn lane there. She didn't have to run down into the median and ditch the car. So that thing goes into the turn lane, and I noticed that the cars are stopped as soon as the SUV's not blocking my vision anymore, but I don't really have time to make a halfway decent stop. So I go into emergency stop mode, which means I no longer care about working myself down through the gears. I've got my music way too loud. So I'm not working my way down through the gears as I'm stopping, which if you drive a stick shift car, you know if you need to get from 6th to 1st, all you do is push the stick up into the neutral position and then move it over and up into 1st, and you know, you go directly there from one gear to the other. Well, the gearbox on a motorcycle is sequential. You have to click through each gear. So I wasn't clicking down through the gears. So now I'm at a dead stop in 5th or 6th gear, I don't remember which. Stopped in traffic, and I don't know if all motorcycles are this way or if it's just this particular one, but the gears don't always want to mesh together when the wheels are not turning. So sometimes at a dead stop, if I'm trying to change gears, it gets kind of stuck in between gears and it won't move any further. Well, that's what happened. So I'm trying to click the gear stick with one foot while I'm trying to roll the bike with the other foot. And my adrenaline's up. I feel like I'm holding up traffic. I feel like this is taking forever. But if you watch the video, it only took a second. You know, I wasn't in any real danger from that. But as I was stopping, another thing I thought about was this might be a good time to try my first lane split. I gotta turn this music down. Alright, that's better. So as I'm doing my panic stop, I realized that since I've been distracted by 18-wheeler stopped in the road, SUV cutting over in front of me, I have no idea who is behind me or how far they're behind me or any clue as to how much attention they're paying to driving. So I almost decided to run up the middle of this line of stopped cars because there's a pretty good chance me panic stopping like that, I'm about to be a motorcycle sandwich getting rear-ended by the person behind me, which thankfully that didn't happen because I decided against cutting up through the middle of those cars. Because it's illegal here, even though it's much safer. But anyway, I finally get the bike down into 1st gear, and the light's been green already. People in front of me are going. So I take off, and I didn't realize that the person that pulled out in front of me to start with had not gotten in the turn lane to turn off the highway. That person just ditched the vehicle into the turn lane because they knew they weren't going to have time to stop. So sure enough, now it's sitting down at the end of the median trying to get back in. And since I wasn't in gear properly and wasn't able to take off as soon as the rest of traffic did, I had left that person a nice little gap to get back in front of me. No way. That SUV cuts back in line in front of me again. So now it's pulled out in front of me twice and almost caused me to have a wreck through their inattention and poor driving. So no, at this point, all in the world I want to do is be around this person, in front of them, far enough in front of them that I don't have to worry about what they're doing anymore. So yeah, I gave it a pretty good bit of throttle, and I looked down, and before I knew it, I'm doing 75 and a 55. But when I realized I was going that fast, of course, I went ahead and stayed there for just a second to make a little bit more distance and put a couple more cars in between me and this person in the SUV. And then I slowed back down to a legal speed and finished the rest of my ride at a reasonable speed and at a reasonable following distance behind the people in front of me, because I want to get back home safe a lot more than I want to go out and show my butt in traffic. But anyway, that's probably the whole thing takes 10 or 15 seconds to watch on video, and I have no idea how much time I just spent explaining what all happened. But there's a lot of thought process going on in that time when there's really not enough time to have a rational thought process. It's just seeing what happens and reacting to it. And sometimes you get put in that spot and you just have to do what comes to mind and hope everything works out for the best, which this time it did, thank goodness. But there was things I could have done different. There's definitely things that person in the SUV could have done different. But the important thing is, at the end of the day, nobody got wrecked, nobody got hurt, everybody went home in one piece. And the only reason I'm still even talking about it is because I got it on video, and I'm almost gonna have to post it somewhere. And I feel like the whole deal needs to be explained a little bit more than just throwing this up on video and letting the images speak for themselves. So that's that.